Students, I'm Mr. Vishal Rai, your SST teacher in your school, St. Peter's English School, Santipara. And today I'm going to give you a summary lesson of class 8 Geography chapter 1 resources. Okay, so this is for class 8 and chapter 1, which is resources, and I'm just giving you a brief study of the chapter. Okay, the chapter is resources. So the first question, the first question is, what is a resource or what are resources? Okay, so a resource is just anything which can be used. Okay, which can be used to meet our needs or to satisfy ourselves to meet our needs. Okay, so a resource is just anything. So there are a few words that we must remember to understand this word. Okay, so anything that has use, okay, or utility, okay, or value or worth. Okay, in your book you'll find these four words. Okay, anything that has some use, utility, use are same things, a value or worth. Okay, anything. So if a thing has no value or no worth for us, no utility, no use for us, that's not resource. Okay, anything that has these things is a resource to us. Okay, so now these resources can be of two types. Okay, so what are those types? Resources could be either natural or human made. Okay, human made. Okay, so natural resources, human made resources. Okay, so what are the natural resources? Okay, so natural resources are those resources which we derive or obtain directly from nature. Okay, so we don't have to actually interfere in its making or in development. It's there in the nature or the environment. It's in the natural form. For example, the air, water, wind, rocks, okay, the soil, okay, the forest, the trees, the wildlife, flora, fauna, everything that we find in nature. Okay, so they are natural resources. Okay, so human made resources are those resources which are modified by human. Okay, modified by human. Okay, we human being modify. Okay, so we actually derive natural resources from nature, we modify them, we change them, and we make them into human made resources. For example, I have a duster in my hand. Okay, so this duster is made of wood. Okay, it's made of wood. Now this wood, okay, was a tree or a part of a tree or part of a yes, of course, a part of a tree, okay, somewhere. So when it was a part of a tree, that was natural resource. It was extracted from them, okay, from that tree, and then it was taken to some factory, small factory or some place, and then it was made into a duster. So now it has become a human-made resource. Okay. Now these natural resources can be divided into different types. Okay, we can classify these natural resources. Okay, so natural resources can be classified or understood on several parameters. Okay, so the first one is on the basis of its origin. Okay, number two is on the basis of its use. Okay, use and development. Okay, and number three, on the basis of its distribution. Okay, distribution. Okay, so on the basis of origin, we have natural resources like biotic and abiotic. Okay, so origin means to start. Okay, so biotic and abiotic. Biotic resources are those which have life in them. They are biotic resources. Okay, biotic resources. For example, say like even human beings. Okay, even the wildlife. Okay, even the wildlife. Okay, the animals, the birds. Okay, so biotic, which has life in it. Okay, abiotic is those resources, those natural things which doesn't have life in it. Okay, for example, the air, water, wind, rocks, okay, the minerals, the ores, okay, they do not have life in them. Okay, so they are abiotic resources. Okay, now on the basis of use and development, okay, use and development, on the basis of this we have actual resources and potential resources. Actual resources are those resources which are being used at present and whose quantity is known. Okay, for example, like we in India, like we have many natural resources. Okay, for example, in West Bengal itself, okay, we have very large concentration of coal. Okay, and these coal as resources are extracted from there. Okay, so and also in the global sense, if I talk about the global sense, the petroleum, the crude oil, the petroleum which is exported from the West Asia. So West Asia has the largest concentration of the petroleum, okay, in it. So they have this these West Asian countries, they export petroleum to other countries. Okay, so they know its quantity, and they like they extract it and they sell it. Okay, they export it. So in India, for example, so like this, so we have resources which are being used at present. Okay, they are actual resources, and potential resources are those resources whose potential. Okay, students, so I was talking about the potential resources. Okay, so potential resources are resources which we know that resources are there someplace. Okay, someplace we know, but we are not using them just yet. Okay, we are not using them at present. Okay, for example, like in Ladakh. Okay, it is said that in Ladakh there is a good concentration of a good reserve of uranium. Okay, and we all know that uranium is a very important and expensive, it's a resource. Okay, but even though the government of India knows, even though we know, even though the public knows, even though the big companies, big industries know the uranium is there, but why it is not being used? Because it's very difficult to go to that place. The terrain is very difficult and hard. Maybe in future, maybe some technology, some new changes will come up, development will come up, and maybe it will be used in future. Okay, so that is potential which is there. Okay, which can be used at some later time. Okay, so there are potential resources. Okay, on the basis of distribution means availability. Okay, so on the basis of distribution we have two types of resources. Okay, one is ubiquitous, okay, and another is localized. Okay, so ubiquitous resources are those resources which are available just everywhere. Okay, for example, the air, the water, the solar energy, the wind energy, the water, air. Okay, even soil, although soil are also of different types, but anyway, soil, rocks, okay, they are available just everywhere. Okay, the general type. So these are ubiquitous. Okay, ubiquitous are just found everywhere. Okay, they are available a lot. Okay, and but the localized resources are those resources which are found in certain localized area. Okay, they are not found just everywhere. As I gave you the example of uranium. Okay, uranium in Ladakh. Okay, so similarly in the western part of the northwestern part of India, west part of India. Okay, if we see over there, okay, the wind energy, the solar energy. Okay, it's a very good amount. Okay, and in some minor scale it is being used. It is being used right now, but in future maybe people will come up with more bigger ideas, and in the Gujarat, especially the coastal region of Western India, maybe in the future they will use more of this wind and the solar energy. Okay, so and it is not available everywhere. Okay, we don't find such possibility or potential of wind or solar energy in northern India or in the central India. So it is localized. Okay, so these are the three. Okay, one more thing we have to understand, that natural resources are also renewable or non-renewable resources. Okay, renewable and non-renewable. Renewable means which can be renewed. Okay, which gets renewed over a period of time. Okay, so renewable resources are, for example, the air, the water. Okay, even the air, water, all the natural resources I told you about. Okay, so most of the natural resources I told you about, like air, water, wind, of course they get renewed. They never get used up entirely. Okay, so they're always there. For example, even the wildlife. Okay, even the vegetation, the wildlife. But the thing is, these renewable resources, some of these renewable resources, they take a long time, very long time, many years. Okay, even the thousands, millions of years to get renewed. Okay, so even though they are renewable resources, we have to be very careful about using them. Okay, so those are renewable resources. Non-renewable resources are those resources which once used up cannot be used again. They cannot be they cannot get renewed, okay, themselves, okay, by themselves, okay.